Hello and welcome to part 3 of this WordPress tutorial. First of all, I just want to say I apologize for everyone who watched the first 2 videos. Obviously I have not been able to upload the next part of the series for over a year now. And to be totally honest with you guys, I had uploaded the videos and I had planned on uploading them once a week. And then life happened and things just got in the way, and it slipped my mind until someone actually hit me up on Facebook who watched the video. Her name was Forum. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. She's in the comments on the second video. She actually found me on Facebook and told me, asked to upload the rest of the videos, and I was like, what? People are actually watching that? And I went to the videos, and sure enough, almost 1,500 views and a bunch of comments with people asking for the rest of them. So without further ado, here is part 3 of the how to create a WordPress website for a client. This video we're going to be going over the starter theme. So I have a basic theme that I like to start with. It's pretty blank. There's not much on there, and the reason for that is I want to show you guys how you create your own theme so you can use your own starter theme for your clients so that it's comfortable for you to set up. It's quick and easy and painless for everyone. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and open up this screen recording. So this is where you'll go once you click the link in the description to download the starter theme. You'll see it's right here, my GitHub account. You'll just click clone or download, click download zip. And it will give you a download. I've already downloaded it here, so I won't, but it should only take a couple seconds. Once you download it, go ahead and unzip it, and this file won't be there, so go ahead and trash that. Okay, so this is what you'll end up with, WP starter theme. So go ahead and copy the folder wherever you downloaded it, go back into your client website, and you go into WP content, WordPress content, go into themes, and you're going to hit paste. So you're going to paste your own theme in there. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and select the theme on your WordPress website. So I'm back in here, and we're going to go to Appearance, Themes. And now you should see it load up in here. There isn't a picture on here. I'll show you how to do that later. But go ahead and click Activate. And now if you go here, open a new window, View Site. A very basic, very bare bones theme. Okay, so let's leave this window up, and now we're going to go back to that themes folder, to the theme we just downloaded, the starter theme, and we're going to go ahead and open this up in our text editor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over all the files in this basic theme folder. So very first thing everyone should know on a WordPress theme is the Style Dot Css folder or file. And what this is basically, this is where all the information about the theme gets placed. So the theme name, and if you were going to publish this theme to the public, this is where they would go to download the theme, and then you have your description of it, your version, and you can put your name here because you'll be editing this. Alright, and then this right here, this essentially imports these 4 CSS files, and we'll go over those right now. So first, it imports Bootstrap. I love Bootstrap. I pretty much use it for almost all of my websites that I build. It's just been ingrained in my head, so it's what I use. If you want to use something else like Foundation or even Skeleton, that's up to you, but I'll be going over how to create this website using Bootstrap. Then I have Font Awesome because I use a lot of icons for a lot of the websites I create, so I like their icons. I put them in. You can use glyph icons with Bootstrap. I just find them to be a little too bulky for a lot of what I need, and most of them that I need are in Font Awesome. And then I have a variables file, and I have a main.css. So this variables file is basically a list of classes. Okay, so in this file I pretty much have a list of classes that I can attach to any HTML class or any HTML property, give it any HTML element and give it properties of CSS. So for example, if I want to make this H1 have a font family of Open Sans, I just give it the class of Open Sans. And so here's a bunch of them that I use on a regular basis. So I have bold, regular, italic. I have a title class, I have a subtitle class, I have colors. Right here I just have white, black, highlight, and backlight. And Johnston box, mainly for marketing websites. I also have some border classes, and the spacing is a pretty important one. So the way I like to do things is, spacing is very crucial to any website, and it's important that you have similar spacing throughout the whole website. You don't want to have divs that are 5 pixels apart, and then divs that are 10 pixels apart, and then divs that are 15 pixels apart. It looks really janky, and to be honest, it's not the right way to go. So what I do is I create these classes. MTB stands for margin top bottom and then 0. Margin left right 0. Margin top bottom 5. Margin top bottom 10, and so on. And actually there should be some more. You'll want to put margin bottom dash, or actually here's what we'll do. We're actually going to copy all of these, and next line, and we're going to replace these with just margin bottom. This will actually be updated, so when you download the file, it should include these margin bottom onlys. That way, let's see. Okay, so it'll just have margin bottom. And if you're wondering how I did the multiple select on Atom, I'm just holding Control and Shift and hitting the down arrow, and it'll select multiple. Okay, so we're also going to do the same thing with the padding. So I'm going to copy these, paste them here, change these padding top bottom to just padding bottom, and get rid of the padding tops. Okay, so again, this will be updated when you download it, but essentially this makes it really easy to keep track of how far apart all of your elements on your web page are and keep them nicer and cleaner. I always use an increments of 5. It's just the best way to go. And then I have width 100. A lot of times I just need something 100% of the width. I'll just give it a class of width 100. Max width 100. Another one I use a lot, max height 100. Video container and video container iframe. So this is for when you want to embed a video. This is all you do is you put a div in there and you give it a class of video container, and then the iframe in there, the embedment, it'll have all of these properties automatically, and it will look good on any device. Vertical center, I don't use this too often. It's very inconsistent with browsers, but basically it's kind of tricky to put something in the center of the screen without manually putting the exact amount of pixels you want, and it just gets confusing. So vertical center, if I want to center something in the middle vertically, however, it doesn't always work all the time. And you have relative, absolute, float left, float right. And then, so that's pretty much the variables class. So after it loads the variables, then it loads the main CSS. And if you haven't noticed by now, I actually do my CSS a little bit different than most people. Most people will, do their CSS like float right, and then they'll enter and do float right. And then if they want to do another property, they'll do like position relative, width 100%. You get the point. And to be honest, this gets very messy for me, and I like this because it looks a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier to find things. You can do it however you want, but this is just how I choose to do it. So now back to the main CSS. So after all the variables are loaded, it will load the main CSS. And so essentially I'll put all the colors of the website. So if I'm designing a website for a client, I'll get their logo or the colors they want to use, and I'll just put them in here. So let's just say they wanted to use a green. I would put it in here, and I would find the color code and I would put it right here. I don't have a green color code on hand, so I'll just say green for now. But that's what I would do. And then so this would make any font that I give a class of green the color green. And then I'll put in BG green, which stands for background dash green, and this will have a background color of green. That way, if I want a big block or a big section of the website to be the same green, it'll do that automatically. And then I set the root font size, and I set the default font family to Open Sans. I set the color to actually off black. I don't use jet black. Usually I use it off black 333. I think it just looks smoother and nicer. And then I set the size to basically this 16 point by saying 1 rem. And then I set the body and HTML margin to 0. And one thing I do put is I give images a max width of 100% because I honestly don't believe any image should be going outside of the container unless it's for specific plugin, slider, or something like that, but that's very rare. I honestly think this should be a default rule of CSS, but I use it in all of my sites. And then you see I have tree styling here. So what I mean by tree styling is, let's just say in HTML I have a div class equals container, and we'll say this is the hero. And then I have a div class equals like main, and then div, and then a div class equals aside, and then end that div, and then end the container. Alright, so let's just say I have that in HTML. Now for tree styling, if I wanted to edit the main class, what I would do is I would say .hero space .main, and then I put my styles in here. If I wanted to edit the aside class, I would say .hero .aside and put my styles in here. And so the reason I do it like this is because it helps keep things organized. When you have a long list of CSS properties and you see all of the first, you see hero, going down, you're in the hero container, and then you can look within it. Maybe in another video I'll show you how to use CSS preprocessors to help you out with this process, but for now that's what we're going to do. So I'll go ahead and delete this. Alright, and now the next thing, that's pretty much everything that's loaded into the style CSS. This is like the main WordPress style sheet. It loads all the styles and all the descriptions. Alright, next up is going to be the Index.php. This is the default template for all of posts that are loaded inside WordPress. And so we'll go over this. So we give it a template name. This is a default. You're going to say PHP get header. This is a WordPress function that essentially gets all the WordPress needed files, and then it gets this header.php file. Within this header.php file, it's pretty standard doc type HTML. You set the language to English. If you're in a different country, you change that. Then you have the head, and you give standard metas, viewport, pretty standard these days. Make sure it's mobile friendly. And then you give the title. So PHP blog info name. What this means is that it pulls the WordPress name that you gave it when you set it up. And when you change it in your WordPress settings, in the general settings, it will change the title dynamically. And so then I have this little bar here, and then I have the WordPress title. This is basically, well, this should be the page title. So that's why I have this WordPress title. However, this probably won't even work anymore. I'm just going to delete this for now, actually. But you would typically like to put the opening or just a separator, and then you would want to put the title, I believe, like that. And that way it will put the title of the page right next to the title of the actual website. I'm going to leave that like that for now. Then we have meta, and we have, okay, so this is actually going to be loading up Jquery. I would recommend you download Jquery and download it into your JavaScript folder right here, and then you can load it up locally. I do have it in here locally. This is version 1.9 and the latest is 2.1. I'll probably actually have the latest one in here, and so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and change this. And this should automatically be updated for you once you download it. I'm just making all these changes now because a lot has changed since last made the last video. So slash JavaScript. So what this does, by the way, the PHP blog info template directory. This means this goes into I gotta go back to applications map. Where's that? htdocs. Content. So when it says blog info template directory, this goes into the theme and it places it in this directory. So from this directory, after that, which is done through PHP, you go into the JavaScript folder, which is this folder right here, and we're going to say jQuery dash crap, what was the latest version? 2.1.3. That's probably not even the latest version. 2.1.3. I'll put the latest one in there. Min.js. Make sure you get the minified version unless you're going to be making changes, which I would not recommend. Alright, and then it's going to be pulling the Bootstrap JavaScript, which is used for menus and other little animations. And then we have the smooth scroll. Smooth scroll makes it so that whenever you click a link that has, I think it would just be better if I showed you. So let's just, this page right here is opening up the landing page. You know what? I'll show you later. Basically, it makes it so whenever you click on I cannot remember what those are called, the link within the page where it has the hashtag and then it has the name of the ID of the element, when you click it, it'll smoothly scroll it down to that point. And I'll show you that once we get some actual content on the page. We'll get there. Alright, and then I load the JavaScript, the main JavaScript after that. And so you might be thinking, where is the style sheet? And that's right here. So the style sheet's right after that. The main JavaScript, there's nothing in it right now. This just sets it up for jQuery. And if we want to add some functionality, we'll add it in here. And then after that, we load one style sheet in here, which is the Style Dot Css. And that's what this blog info style sheet URL is. This will automatically load Style Dot Css. And now Style Dot Css will load up the other style sheets that we have. Okay. And then I load up Google Fonts, Open Sans Condensed. If you want to put any other fonts in there, I suggest Google Fonts. Otherwise, you're on your own for getting that font in there. And then this PHP WordPress head, this basically gets all the essentials needed for WordPress to start up a website. And then we end the head and this right here. So we say PHP, if the page template is page landing, you're going to give the body the class of landing. If not, then you're just going to do a regular body tag. So what this does is, if it's the home page, you're going to give the body a class of landing. That way, you can give the home page elements different styles than you would on interior pages that are not the home page. Because usually, you have your home page layout and then you have your interior page layout, and they're two completely different things. So the home page is trying to get people into your website, and then your interior pages, your contact, your about us, your discover, your opt-in pages, they all are formatted similarly but different than the home page. And so that's why I do that. So it's easy to specify home page styles because they're all wrapped in a landing class. Alright, and so we say load the body, and then that's it. So now if we go to page.php, or sorry, back to index. So we loaded the header, we loaded that whole file I just showed you, and now we're going to start the infamous WordPress loop. This right here. It says if there are any posts while there are any posts, load the post. And so what this does is it will load up the current post that is loaded, and then it will load it into this. And so we're going to say PHP echo, which means right on the screen, get the title. That's what it is, get the title. Okay. And so what this will do is it will get the title of the post, and it will put it in this div. And yeah, this is a page in the background, not a post. That's not a good example. And then underneath, we're going to put a horizontal rule. And then we have our main class, and then we put a container div with the class of container, which is Bootstrap. And it's actually going to be not margin small, but we're say margin top bottom dash 15. Okay. And PHP the content. This is another WordPress function, and this gets the content of the actual post. So if you have a post, hello world view. So here is a post, and you see the hello world. This is going to be loaded in the div. If I can inspect it, I'm not sure why it's not letting me inspect it. Refresh it. Oh, something's wrong with my Chrome. Sometimes it doesn't let me right click on things, and I just have to open it in a new tab. There we go. So right click, inspect. This will bring up the inspector, and we can see, yeah, we have a lot of issues here. We'll go over those later. So we have the div hello world, and in our code we said get the title in the div, and that it did. And then underneath, the welcome to WordPress, that's in the main div container. I gotta save this, refresh it. Once you save the file, you can just refresh the page. You can see it changed from container margin dash small to container mtb dash 15, which is our new margin class. All right, and so this is the content. If we were to edit this, it would change in here. So we decided not to be so loud. Update that, refresh it, and a much quieter voice. Okay. And so that's the content. We end the main div, and then this is the end WordPress loop. So you pretty much need this and this on every template page or post that you do. And so what this does is, if there isn't a post, if somehow they get to an outdated post or one that's been deleted, they have a link, for example, they saved a link, they click the link like a year later and that post no longer exists, they're going to get this no post were found, sorry. And then we're going to end the if, because there is an if and then a while. So we end the while, and then we say end if. And then this PHP get footer is a WordPress function, which then does all the WordPress things it needs to do to close it out, and then gets the footer.php. This is a very basic footer. And looks like I need to change this again, margin top bottom dash 15. And so this is call extra small dash 12. This is Bootstrap saying it wants it to be full width. So 12 columns on a website, it's going to take up all 12. And then we do a little PHP. This is this right here. Say echo the date, which is the 2017. The copyright symbol is right here. So PHP echo date 2017, just a year. And then we say echo the site URL. And there's actually a better way to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for you right now. All this should be updated for you once you download the file. There's just been a lot of changes I need to do. So this period means basically a join the two. So we're going to say echo the date, period. Now we're going to put quotes. We're going to put a space in there. And then we're going to put the period again, and now we're going to put another PHP function, get the site URL. This is pretty standard for any website to have a little copyright at the bottom. And see, now there's a space between there. And so obviously you're not going to want local host in your footer, but once you are on an actual domain it will load up just the domain part. Okay. And by the way, the site URL is also in your settings, I believe, or yeah, site address WordPress URL. So if I were to change this, it would mess up the whole thing. Never change this unless you're transferring to a different site. Otherwise, it's very messy. It's very hard to get out of it. All right, and okay, so there is still more to cover. Let's see, we have page.php. So page.php is the default page template. So we have posts and we have pages. So if we go to pages, we have a sample page in here. On the right hand side, since there are multiple templates, you see there's, I know this is confusing, default template, default page template, landing page, post, 404. So the reason why there's a bunch of them, and I actually need to update this as well, the default page template does not actually need this comment right here. This comment is usually what defines the template name. For the defaults, it doesn't need that. So if we save that and we refresh, this should, yeah, it got rid of the other default template. So just check my mic. Okay, so this is the default template, and it's under page.php, and it's essentially the same thing as a post. According to WordPress, pages and posts are actually almost identical. It's just easier for user interface and designing, and you can use them for different things, but essentially they act the same. So you're going to do the same loop, you can do the same header, you can put whatever you want in the main, you can say the same things as you did on here. You could say echo the title, and now if we go, it should say sample page when we go into the page. Yep, sample page. And you can do the content as well. You don't need to have echo. This is a WordPress function. This is a WordPress function that will automatically echo it out. Get the title does not automatically echo it out. However, let me check, see if we can just do the title. Can you do that? Yeah, we can. So, get the title will, hold on. Oh, we're in the post, that's why. That's why. I'm getting confused. Sorry about that. Okay, so echo. Let's just see what happens when we say the title. Alright. But if we say get the title, same thing? Yeah. So the difference between the title and get the title. The main difference, the title will automatically echo it out. However, if you want to use this for something else, if you want to use this as a variable, get the title, for example, you could say, you could set a variable of title equals to get the title. And then on your website, whenever you want to put title, all you would have to do is title. And this would not work. If you were to do this, it would automatically print out the title in the beginning of the page, wherever you define this variable. So if you're defining a variable as something in WordPress, you're going to want to get the title. If you want to just print it out on the screen, you can just do the title. I hope that's not too confusing. That's the best way to explain it, at least for me. So it's the same thing as the post. You can do the content, or you can do get the content. So the title, and then this is all the content on the sample page. Okay, and so let's see. Now we have, I want to go over page landing. So like I was saying before, there's different page templates. There's the default page template, which I would use for internal pages or any page that's not a landing page. And then you have page landing, which is going to be your landing page template. So you have your sample page. Let's just change this to home page. change that to home page, change this. You're going to delete that so that the main site will go. And okay, I'll show you why that didn't work in a second. It's not letting you delete this because you have to set the home page in your parent settings. I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to set the page template to landing page. Okay, we'll change this to landing. Update. Now, when you select a landing page on a new theme, what you have to do is go to Appearance, Customize, and Static Front Page. Instead of showing the latest posts, this is showing the only post we have right now, which is a standard WordPress functionality because it is a blog first platform. So if you're not developing a blog, then this might be fine. You might want to display all of the latest posts. But for most of the websites I do, they're not blog oriented, so I changed this to a static page, change the front page to landing page. If you do also want a blog page, you can create another page and select the post page to be that page. I'm going to hit save and publish. So now, when you go to the root of the website, it's going to load up the sample page. It's going to load up the sample page. What is happening? Okay. So we set the static page to the landing page. Is it saved in here? Oh, the reason why it's blank is because the landing page template has no content. So we could say, landing page, save it. Now it's going to show up. And we could say, echo the content. And it's going to show up. Alright, so that's the basics of this starter theme. So the next video we'll be going over getting this thing started. So we'll be going into our page landing and designing our landing page in code. Making a basic Bootstrap layout. I'll show you some things about Bootstrap that you need to know, as well as some things about WordPress that you need to know. And we'll continue setting up our site. So I hope you guys liked this video. I know it's really long. I hope it helped. And let me know in the comments if you still want to see these videos. I know there were a lot in the last one. So I appreciate everyone who wanted more. So I'll be posting these weekly. I swear this time I will be on it. And probably even more than weekly. Probably twice a week if I can find the time. So anyways, enjoy. Have a good day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.